The United Nations Security Council is holding an open session on the war on Gaza. They're expected to vote on a resolution calling for a suspension of hostilities later on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process has given an update to the Security Council ahead of that vote. He says he is alarmed by growing violence against Palestinians in Gaza and the occupied West Bank.
I remain gravely concerned by the impact of the ongoing hostilities on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. The current conditions are making it impossible for meaningful humanitarian operations to be conducted. I'm also deeply concerned by escalating tensions in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem. Intensified armed exchanges between Palestinians and Israeli security forces, predominantly in the context of Israeli operations, have led to exceedingly high levels of fatalities and arrests. I reiterate that security forces must exercise maximum restraints and use lethal force only when it's strictly unavoidable to protect life.
Let's bring in our correspondent, Gabriel Elizondo. He's joining us live from the UN headquarters in New York. And there is some hope for this vote, isn't there, Gabe, which is due in the coming hours?
That's right. There is some hope that this could possibly be a resolution that is accepted by everybody on the Council, and that it could perhaps alleviate some of the suffering in Gaza and get more humanitarian aid in. That's sort of the big picture here. But this vote has been delayed. It's a little after 1 p.m. here local time in New York, about 1:20 to be exact. We thought this vote was going to happen at 10 a.m. Then we heard that it was delayed to 11, then 12:30. Now we're hearing it could be as late as 4 p.m. local time or even 5 p.m. Why? The reason is, and the answer is, because there are still negotiations taking place behind closed doors at this very hour, according to sources that Al Jazeera has been speaking to, because this is such a critical resolution and the wording in it is so sensitive. Particularly, number one is this is a humanitarian resolution. That is the focus of it by the UAE, that was the main drafter who wrote up this draft resolution and are the main sponsors of it. But there's issues about how to stop the bombardment, if you will. And the first draft said that it called for an urgent and sustainable cessation of hostilities to allow for humanitarian aid. That's something that the U.S. probably would not go for, so they've changed the wording to the urgent suspension of hostilities to allow for unhindered humanitarian access and for urgent steps towards a sustainable cessation of hostilities. Keywords there, essentially, the U.S. would not vote for anything, we believe, that would stop permanently Israel's ability to conduct their military operations in Gaza. And so that is why the UAE and others on the Council are trying to find some wording that would be a suspension of hostilities to get the U.S. on board.
All right, Gabe, so a lot riding on the wording of this resolution. What else is significant in it?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's a pretty hefty resolution there. There's a lot in it. And a couple other things to point out is, number one, is the Council is saying that if this is voted on, it goes forward and it passes, they want a UN-led monitoring mechanism in terms of the aid. Again, this is a resolution really focused on ramping up or scaling up the aid, either by land, sea, or air into Gaza. They want a monitoring mechanism of some sort to see how that aid is getting in, facilitate that aid getting in, and then monitor its dispersal in Gaza, presumably to make it go faster. And the other issue as well is also in here, they say that this resolution says that they want to have a unify Gaza with the West Bank under the authority of the Palestinian Authority after this conflict is over. That's very interesting part of this resolution as well. Left unsaid is that with Hamas, part of Hamas? Are they assuming that Hamas will no longer be part of the equation after this conflict is over? I don't know, but clearly they put that in the resolution that after the conflict is over, they expect the West Bank and Gaza to be unified under Palestinian Authority control.
All right, Gabe, thank you very much. Gabriel Elizondo with the latest live at the UN in New York.